Smooth, sexy, sensual fragrances. You know, geared towards evenings, cuddling, intimate situations. Fragrances like those are very important in your fragrance wardrobe, in my opinion. Just as much as your work fragrance, your super fresh fragrance, or whatever else you have a fragrance for. This is just as important, if not the most important. And in this video, I'm bringing you 5 picks that I think are just fantastic for these situations. So stay tuned. This first one is definitely the most floral of the fragrances featured here today. It's not a real heavy, overwhelming type of projection. It's more intimate, much more close encounter type of scent profile and performance. It's very floral, it's very sweet, it's very powdery and warm. It's La Nuit de l'Homme, but this is the L'Intense flanker. This is one that every time I wear it, it's only 3 or 4 sprays. And I just finished telling you how it's not some super strong performer. It's because it has a specific use. Oh man, it's so good. Look, you can detect a little bit of that cardamom powderiness in the background, but there's no cardamom here. It's definitely powdery because there's a heavy dose of iris, violet, there's some tonka bean here. 3 different oils that can create a powdery scent profile. Plus the vanilla can be it's a little bit more dusty than creamy. It's a little bit more of a dry vanilla, so that could be attributing to the powderiness as well. While not a powder bomb, definitely a relatively powdery fragrance that has this sex appeal to it. The sage adds a little bit of a different level while the patchouli kind of keeps it grounded without making it too floral of a fragrance. And it doesn't lean feminine. It doesn't have that lipsticky type of iris profile that the Dior Homme line is known for. This is much more subdued, but also very powdery at the same time. The tonka bean and the vanilla really provide a nice sweet layer underneath the florals. This is a very seductive fragrance. My wife loves the way this fragrance smells on me. Definitely great for close encounters. You can absolutely wear this on a date, evenings out, but it's definitely much more sensual and has pretty much geared towards being a sex appeal, you know, date night, cuddly type of fragrance. I can't imagine wanting to wear this to work or something during the day. It just doesn't suit that. I don't believe it was built for that. The scent profile doesn't lean itself to work well in those situations. But when it comes to being just smooth and sexy, I gotta tell you, in my collection, this might be the best La Nuit de l'Homme, L'Intense. Powdery, warm amber, not really so much spicy, but very soothing, very seductive fragrance, as with before, but no florals here. A little powdery, but like I said, no florals. Prada Luna Rossa Black. This is a favorite for evenings out, cooler weather. It's a lovely fragrance. Has almost like a Play-Doh type of smell in the opening. As strange as that may sound, it works. I don't know if it's the Angelica blending with the amber or the way some of the notes meld, but it's predominantly a nice warm, dusty type of amber. That's really where your powdery nature of this fragrance is going to come from. While again, not an overwhelming projection, definitely a pretty above average, relatively long lasting type of scent. Will definitely go late hours into the night for sure without needing a refresh. This can definitely go through dinner, you know, drinks, nightcap, and beyond. It definitely has enough longevity there because it's not, like I said, not an overwhelming projection, but this is a little bit better than an intimate type of projection. This will reach out a few feet and grab somebody for sure. Strong compliment getter, but this is another one. Very smooth, nothing rough around the edges with this one. That's where it really leans itself to be a sensual scent profile. That's what this video is all about, really, is those type of fragrances that's going to want to make her get closer. And Prada Luna Rossa Black, in my experience, is definitely a great fragrance for that. If you haven't sampled this one yet, I urge you to try it. Prada Luna Rossa Black. While very new to my collection, this is an interesting fragrance across the board. The scent profile, the notes used, it's so intriguing. It's sensual, smooth. It's almost a bit exotic, to be completely honest with you, the way the scent is composed. I'm talking about Nishane. Fan Your Flames. I've only spent a brief time with this one. I've only worn it once. The wife goes gaga for this one. That coconut rum smell up top, very boozy, still has this warm burning woods type of smell going for it. It's an odd, in a good way, scent profile. It's different. I don't have anything else that can hold a candle to this when it comes to just being smooth and interesting. It's so smooth. Nothing rough around the edges here either. And like I said, the wife, first time she smelled it, she said, "Can you wear this every night?" That was her immediate response. So absolutely loves it. Very expensive fragrance. One I urge you to sample first. Don't just blind buy it like I did. I'm crazy when it comes to that stuff, but I like the thrill of the blind buy. But I heard wonderful things about this. You know, this is another one of those fragrances that Justin Copeland sold me on. It's all your fault, Justin. I saw him feature it in a few videos, and I was like, you know what? I think me and the wife would love that one. And turns out, excellent move. So Justin gets the credit for this purchase for sure. Picked this one up from Venba Fragrances, which is always linked down below in my videos. This is a 50 ml. I'm telling you, this rum coconut up top, and I don't know what makes that burning wood smell, but it's just something special. It's got oak moss, it's got cedar. I don't really get a sharp cedar from this. The mossiness doesn't really rear its head much until it dries down, because it does nuance, it does change, it does have a little bit of complexity for being, you know, a relatively basic note breakdown. And when I say basic, I mean there's not a ton of different oils. It's not overly complex. There's only like 6 or 8 oils used in this one according to the scent profile and note breakdown. But it's just a delight, an absolute delight. Marshmallowy sweet, rum coconut boozy up top, burning woods. It's so many of these different things. But if there's one thing in particular I can say about it, it's smooth, it's sexy, it's sensual, and you need to try it if you haven't yet. And if nothing else, let your lady smell it. While definitely one of the least popular in its line, I think this is extremely underrated. There is a very specific use for this fragrance. Falls right into this topic. I'm talking about Dolce & Gabbana The One Intense Eau de Parfum, that piano black fingerprint magnet. I try my best not to touch the front of the bottle. There's always fingerprints on the side. So this is not your run-of-the-mill Dolce & Gabbana. It's not full of, it's got an ambery smell, though not full of amber. That ambery vanilla, ambery leather type of smell is still present from the base DNA, though in the background. Very subdued. This one has a soapy neroli mixing with this vanillic fizzy benzoin and this smooth, sweet, spicy cardamom. And then as it starts to dry, and that cardamom adds a little bit of a powdery nature to it, and you have your warm spice from it, the benzoin settles down. This cashmere wood note comes out that provides this just smooth nature. It's very, very smooth. Another one, there's nothing rough around the edges here. It's very sensual. The wife loves this one. This is one of my go-tos for date night that I have not been wearing recently because I've gotten so many really good ones lately, which one is coming up and one we just featured. The one before this and the one after this are new to the collection, and they're smooth and sexy fragrances in their own right. But Dolce & Gabbana The One Intense Eau de Parfum, it doesn't get any love. It has a similar scent profile to La Nuit de l'Homme, the Eau de Parfum flanker, while not being exactly the same, because the cardamom and the leather, they borrow from one another, and they offer some similarities, and at certain stages in the fragrance's life, they do have a strong similarity. But I think this is just a little bit smoother than La Nuit de l'Homme Eau de Parfum because of that neroli added in there. For some reason, it just kind of smooths it out. It has that nice, smooth, soapy, white floral nature just as a supporting player. It's not overwhelming. Everything's very well blended here. Not too much really jumps out at me aside from a few nuances, but very underrated. one that more people should give a chance. I know Dolce & Gabbana, the one EDT and EDP get all the love. They are legendary evening out fragrances. But for close encounters, I think this does the trick even better. Give it a try if you can. Sample it or roll the dice if you're feeling frisky for a blind buy. But definitely an underrated sensual fragrance is Dolce & Gabbana, the One Intense Eau de Parfum. Last, this is the other fragrance that's newest to my collection that's geared towards these type of scenarios, evenings out, moving into a nightcap, and, you know, the beloved end of the evening that most are going for. One that I was told over and over I needed to get my hands on. It's phenomenal. It's great. You need to get it, Ross. Well, I finally did. And everybody that told me that was right. Mercedes-Benz Club Black, big 100 ml. This is such a great, smooth, slightly boozy smelling vanilla amber fragrance. And while not really having any boozing components, it has a little bit of a boozy, cognac-y type of smell to it. It's very strange. It's like I said, it's not in the note breakdown. There's an incense note here that darkens it up quite a bit. It really adds, I mean, the way this benzoin with the vanilla and the incense mix, it creates this ambery, sexy fragrance. There's no amber here, but it has a very, very heavy amber smell. Lovely powerhouse. This and Nishane Fan Your Flames are the powerhouses in this video. This stuff is not subtle. So if you're looking for close encounter, maybe go easy on the sprays. Maybe lay back a little bit on the sprays. But if you're going to be, it's going to be a long evening and you're going to be in a relatively open area, then have fun with the trigger. Spray as many times as you want. It will get you some attention because it is not a subtle fragrance. It's quite long lasting so far in my experience. 8 to 10 hours is what I'm experiencing so far. And it's pretty loud. Not a room filler, but it's definitely an attention getter. Just a fantastic fragrance. Another one that the wife adores. Asked me why didn't I get it sooner. Had told her it is, you know how it is. I get so many fragrances. Some fragrances get pushed to the side. I'll spray it one more time. Just such a lovely ambery vanilla. That smokiness from the incense really darkens this thing up because you get that effervescence from the benzoin. The benzoin here, I think, is what really attributes to having that ambery type of smell. Even though it's not really an amber resin, it's more of a vanillic type of resin. It just smells incredible. Extremely well blended, not an overly synthetic fragrance. Though this has a little bit more of an edge than the rest of the fragrances in this video, still quite smooth, extremely sexy. As I was told in the past, and now that I've gotten to experience, I can verify. Definitely a very, very sexy scent profile. That's according to my wife as well. And one that if you can get your hands on it for a very good price, I would say pull the trigger. If you like vanilla scents, blind buy safe. Because yes, it's a vanilla scent at the end of the day, but such a damn sexy vanilla scent. Not a boring vanilla at all. Again, that's Mercedes-Benz Club Black. Well, that's the 5 I've got for you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. Do you have any of these 5 in your collection already? What do you think about them? Did any of these intrigue you? These are very situational, situation specific for today's video topic. It's one that I was having a discussion with my wife, and it was actually her idea. She said, why don't you put some of my favorite evening scents in there and do a video on that? I said, why don't I? Let her pick them. These are the 5. And I totally agree with her picks because I physically see her reactions to these fragrances. Now, this is my experiences with my significant other. Your experiences may vary, but if you trust my opinion in any way, these are worth giving a shot. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of these 5, and you give them a spray now, pretty confident you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.